Michigan ran for 290 against this team a year ago. This was the Alex Orji game, remember. He threw 13 passes for 30 yards. Michigan needed a pick six from Will Johnson off of Miller Moss, and they needed to rush for 290 yards. Can you go do that against this USC team in Los Angeles? I think it's a great litmus test here for both teams.
All right, boys, as sneaky as two of the biggest brands in college football can be, we've got going on in the Big Ten this weekend, Michigan and USC. David, you know, you're a former Michigan quarterback. You've watched them play, went on the road, had that loss at Oklahoma, which is looking better and better by the week. We'll see what happens with Red River. But then against Wisconsin, Sharon Moore coming back off the suspension, kind of sleptwalked through that game. I mean, Wisconsin took the first drive down there and scored. When you look at this matchup and where it is being played, how big of an effect do you think that will have for Bryce Underwood in what some would say is probably the biggest game he's played in since Oklahoma and probably the biggest of his career to this point?
Well, look, a great litmus test here for both teams, I think, who have done some good things on the field. Some, there's some frustrations. Obviously, USC with the road loss to Illinois. They'll get Michigan at home this time. It was a similar thing that I said, though, for Bryce Underwood and Michigan going to Nebraska. What a crucial win to be able to go and get a win on the road after not being able to get over that hump against Oklahoma. Here's what I see right now from the Michigan team. I see a lot of good, and I see a lot that needs improvement. The question is, can they fine-tune some of these things? On the defensive side, Wink Martindale, who really the back half of that season last year was the difference maker, to beat the Buckeyes and to beat Alabama. I think they struggle in coverage behind some of the zone pressures. Wink Martindale, I think, needs to figure out how much are we going to pressure, because when Michigan gets home and they complete the sack, do they look like a dominant football team? They were getting home to Raiola time and time again. They were getting home to John Mateer sometimes, and he was getting out of it and completing big plays. How much do you need to bring pressure versus how much can you lean on that front four? Because when they don't complete a sack, the zone coverage behind struggles, even though if you look outside the first drive against Wisconsin, they really stifled everything that the Badgers wanted to do. On the offensive side, I'm seeing an 18-year-old quarterback, and I'm just telling you as someone who played the position, it's hard enough to go into some of these stadiums and just get a snap cleanly. To watch someone who just turned 18 years old do the things that he is doing and not committing major mistakes. It's not like he makes a wow play and you're like, oh, that's the five-star quarterback that we were promised, but then he throws a pick six. He's not making those major mistakes, and to be honest with you, he's not getting a lot of help from his outside receivers. Now, I will say Donovan McCulley is emerging like a consistent and reliable target. I wish he was the third best wide receiver that Michigan had instead of the first best, because Samaj Morgan in the slot and some of these other guys, they're just dropping way too many passes. But 18-year-old quarterback continues to develop game in and game out. I think Justice Haynes at running back is a top 3 back in America right now. The offensive line against Wisconsin regressed, in my opinion, from the Nebraska.
And Wisconsin's good against, that's the one thing they do well.
Look, this is the thing. Like, Wisconsin was ranking at number 1 against the run, and Michigan still rushed for 170 yards. Now you're going to go play a Lincoln Riley team who has struggled on the defensive side of the ball. Michigan ran for 290 against this team a year ago when this was the Alex Orji game. Remember, he threw 13 passes for 30 yards. Michigan needed a pick six from Will Johnson off of Miller Moss, who threw over 50 times in that game, and they needed to rush for 290 yards with Kalel Mullins putting that game away. Can you go do that against this USC team in Los Angeles? I think is a great test for both programs.
You know, most people are saying that was the greatest orgy in Michigan history.
Was it?
Yeah. There's some
I
pretty
can't
good,
speak to that.
Yeah. No, David, don't want to get you in trouble. Blaine, this looks like one of Lincoln Riley's teams, man. Got guys on offense that can do some good things. I like Maava. Like, he spins the ball better than what I thought. Not as elusive as what I thought, which I'm interested to see against this Michigan defense when they bring pressure. Does he have enough to wiggle out of it? But David brought it up, and this is going to be the talking point. It should be the talking point. Can USC stop the run? Because if you don't stop the run, it ain't going to matter. Justice Haynes will pull your pants down and spank you in front of everybody in Kmart.
Well, I mean, what we've seen so far, no, they can't. And not only that, they can't stop the pass either.
Oh, God.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, he gave up 500-plus yards against Illinois, but I always do want to start like this. I mean, right now, this spread opened up at -1.5 USC. Right now, it's sitting at -2.5 USC. With over-under sitting at 57.5.
Wow.
And the money line is +110. I mean, obviously, the first thing I look at whenever these two teams play each other is, 1, how good is USC's defensive line, and 2, how good is Michigan's offensive line. And right now, it's just as Michigan, as this team looks, they're not as Michigan as they usually are, right? If there's three things I can usually trust when it comes to Michigan at any point, at any time in history. One, they're going to be pretty damn good up front on the defensive line. Two, they're going to be pretty damn good up front on the offensive line. And three, they always got a guy at tight end.
Yeah.
Right? They always got a guy at tight end. It's just I'm not seeing that this year, especially at the tight end positions. Obviously, I'm not worried about Bryce Underwood. Like, you can tell, as old as that kid
no, he's nice.
Like, he's going to be special, and I think we all know that. But it just comes down to, one, how many times is Sharon Moore going to turn around and hand the ball off? Can you stay on schedule? Can you stay on time? And I don't think, from the Michigan defensive side, I don't think you need to blitz that much in this game.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't think you need to, because I think you can get home with 4.
Yeah.
And, like, if there's a guy I wouldn't blitz, it's Maava. Like he recognizes blitzes so well.
That's Lincoln. Lincoln coaches these guys up so well.
He really doesn't panic when it comes to blitzing. So if it's me and I'm Michigan, I'm approaching this defense as, look, I'm gonna trust Barham on the edge, and I'm gonna send 4 guys, and we're gonna live in this way. Look, you can get exotic sometimes, but this just comes down to a game of, which is not surprising, Michigan's going to run the ball a lot. Right? And can USC somewhat stop the run? And I think another big thing is Michigan has to stay on schedules. Penalties and turnovers will kill Michigan.
Well, and again, we always talk about this in the run game. It's not just about scoring points and getting yards. It's time of possession. Guys, it's actually the 1-year anniversary of my mother-in-law's unfortunate passing. But I tell you, Reed, my wife, was her only child, and she took care of everything she needed to take care of, which, again, mourning the loss of someone is terrible, but getting your affairs in order, it's a huge deal, and we're so thankful that she did that, and it's something that, everybody needs to do, and that's where our friends over at Ethos come in. They're an online platform that make getting life insurance fast and easy to protect your family's future in minutes, not months. They've made getting life insurance easier than ever before with their streamlined 100% online process. Their flexible coverage allows you to protect your family with up to $3 million in coverage, with some policies starting as low as $2 per day when billed monthly, making comprehensive life insurance accessible and affordable. Talk about peace of mind. That's it right there. No wonder 3 million families have completed their applications with Ethos that they trust to help them find the right coverage. So protect your family with life insurance. Get your free quote at ethos.com/booster. That's ethos.com/booster. So if you're able to run the ball throughout the game, you're able to control the clock. You're able to hold on the ball, and you're able to keep what USC is best at, this Lincoln Riley offense, and Maava and some of these other pieces off of the field. So, David, to you, if you're Sharon Moore, and put all the, we play better on offense when Biff is whatever, that's done. If you're Michigan, do you go in this game and say, hey, look, why don't we just turn this thing around and hand it off and see if we can't just make them get greedy on offense because we're limiting their possessions, and they'll eventually throw it right?
No, I don't think so. That's what you had to do a year ago, and you were able to do that. Now, look, I'm all in favor of turning around and handing the football off as long as that's the thing that's working for you. I mean, if you can go into this game and beat USC on the road when Bryce Underwood throws the football 10 times and you rush for 300 yards, great. I mean, that's what you would want for every game plan. I just think that what we hypothesized before the season, if Bryce Underwood can just come in and be above average at the position, which Michigan got below average a year ago, then everyone else around them is good enough that Michigan's going to be a college football playoff team. I think what we've seen so far is that actually is not the case. Bryce Underwood needs to be a difference maker, and it's tough to ask an 18-year-old true freshman that, but that's why you come and play quarterback for Michigan. I think you involve him and you call the offense like you need to call the offense. If that means you hand it off a little bit more than usual because USC can't stop the run and you're taking what the defense gives you, great. If that means that you're allowing Bryce Underwood on the road to run true zone reads, which he's running true zone, he's running
Bryce
the
runs
RPO
well.
game,
He
and
runs
he's hitting
well.
wide receivers wide open. They're dropping the football a lot. That's not on him. Another thing is his legs in the run game.
Yeah.
A lot of times we've been getting it from true scramble, but a couple weeks ago you saw it in that zone read game, and that kid can take off. He'll hit you for 50. Yeah. It's not just Justice Haynes. So I'm excited to see not just what the scramble drill is for Bryce Underwood, but in quarterback design runs on the road against a team that already struggles to stop the run. How big is that, and vertical relief in the RPO off of that for him?
No, and it's a great point, and I think nobody's benefited more from Bryce Underwood showing his legs than Justice Haynes on that zone read. Because if you watch, a lot of his home runs are just making one guy miss because they're having to hold backside because Bryce may keep it. And it's not like you're last year you weren't afraid of the pass, right? So it's like, all right, that's fine. We'll just put bodies in the box. Even if we give you a one-on-one matchup you're not going to hit it. Well, now it's like, I got to pick how you can kill me.
You know who else is big for that is Max Bredesen, fullback number 44.
Yeah.
You even saw it on the big run that Justice Haynes had, doubling on that ISO from like that zone read. It technically is zone read scheme, but kind of running duo from him at the fullback / tight end position. I mean, to your point about tight end, Marlon Klein's a heck of a player. He's been injured. He's been banged up. Michigan's going to get in 12 and 13 personnel, and they have the capability to do that. The question is, when you have Max Bredesen and you have Klein in, and you need them as a third or fourth option, which Bryce Underwood worked through 4 different options the other day, found Max Bredesen as the open guy, throws it to him, and he drops it. It's tough to criticize that drop so much because that's not what you have Bredesen in the game for. At the same time, if you need to throw pass plays when you're in heavy personnel, all the guys got to be able to catch, or else you become one-dimensional with your personnel.
Well, is there an undercurrent here, Blaine, for USC after watching what UCLA did last weekend, beating Penn State, handling them? It's this beautiful story about how, Rick Neuheisel's son came in there and they caught him the play caller, and everybody's hot on UCLA right now. And they're not talking about Lincoln Riley in year what? We're in year 3, year 4, somewhere around there. Not talking about this Lincoln Riley and USC team, or when they do talk about him, it's the same old, dangerous on offense, piss poor on defense. Is there a anger in that building that USC can use to stifle that run and maybe go against type against Michigan and be the more physical team? Do they have the guys to do it?
My thing is, like, if that's what's getting you motivated, then you already lost.
Yeah, that's a good point.
To be honest with you. And, look, USC will get up to this game. It's the same thing I said in the Miami-Florida State game. You can get up for it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's fine. You're ready to go, big dog. Yeah, get pissed off, put some eye black on, headbutt each other. That's fine. But when there's 5 minutes left to go to the third quarter, this shit sucks, right?
Yeah.
That's what happens when you play Michigan and these teams. So I understand USC should be amped up for this game, but I don't look at being amped up in the first quarter that counts. I look at being amped up with 4 minutes left to go in the third if you're really about it.
Yeah, and to the point you made earlier, like, man, if you're Michigan, I just don't see why you would take a ton of chances on defense.
Yeah.
From a pressure standpoint. Now, and again, you can't live in a world of absolutes. I'm not saying you just play vanilla ice cream the whole time or just bring 4, but the rate at which Michigan pressures, like, again, it's like throwing the ball deep. You may hit it a couple times and it's great, but sometimes it's going to get picked or you're going to be in 2nd and 10. Like, you're just opening yourself up when you face the talent that USC has at the skill position, because I do think it's advantage Michigan D-line in this one.
Yeah, and this is where it's huge to have Rod Moore finally back from injury, a captain of the team, had an interception last week. I think he was the highest graded safety in college football last weekend. It's huge to have him back there on the back end kind of leading things, but I do agree with you guys. I mean, unless you're having trouble getting home with your first 4 or an occasional zone pressure where you still have multiple
or even spine or green dog in a guy because the back stays in.
Or look, you need to go cover 0 because the situation calls for it and you get home, like, everyone's going to think Wink Martindale's an absolute genius because, like I said, when Michigan gets home, they look like a completely different team. I love your point about 4 minutes left to go in the game is more important. There's one thing to consider that we haven't brought up yet, though. USC is coming off of a bye, okay? They had and that's not just from like getting amped up perspective, from a schematic perspective.
Healthy,
USC on their opening drive is going to look the best you've ever seen a football team.
Well, they've had 2 weeks to prepare, as well.
I'll take a first touchdown drive from USC in this game. Yeah. Expect a Michigan come from behind victory if they do win.
No, it's going to be interesting. We want to know in the comments what you think. Give us a prediction. There's a ton of huge games. This one has huge consequences for both teams because if either lose, that's their second loss. It's a conference loss as well. But again, let us know what you think. Thanks for joining us, whether you're a Michigan fan, USC fan, or just a college football fan in general. Without you, there is no us. We'll catch you soon.